First of all, I want to congratulate the panel for the very insightful thoughts so far, and also the passion that I heard about dealing with poor people in developing countries. I think this is obviously an appropriate forum for discussion of these issues. And in fact, it brings up the topic that I'm going to be talking about. I could talk about some of the other things that they've been talking about, but we're just finishing some work at the World Bank with the research division there called DEC, which is called, the first paper we call, part of the title is Defining an Energy Poverty Line. So next. So first of all, I'm going to get just organization of the, I'm going to give a little bit of background with pictures and then talk about the energy poverty line, new ways of tracking energy poverty, and briefly some of the ways to alleviate it. Next slide. Now, you can't see it very clearly in this picture. In fact, it's dimmer than it even is in real life. But the question is, if you can see the small flame, which is up in the upper right-hand corner of the picture, that is a small kerosene lamp. It's a wick lamp that's typically used in developing countries for lighting when you don't have electricity. And the question I would ask is, I know we can hardly see the light here, but could you read by that light? And if you can't read, then what happens to your productivity? Next slide. Now, actually, a lot of these pictures are pictures I've taken myself. This was in a village in South India, and this is inside. And as you can see, on the left-hand side, there's somebody cooking, just started a fire cooking. The smoke is going into the room. The particulates in the room are probably close to 100 times what you have here, even in New York City, which has some levels of pollution, as you all know. And then as we were walking out, also there's a tradition in South India to have your babies swinging in these baskets. So instead of being down on the floor like the cooks are, where they get away from the smoke a little bit, then they have their children swinging in the smoke in the house. So the smoke from the open fire goes up, and of course a lot of the WHO reports out now are about that there are about 5,000 people daily worldwide who are dying from this, and most of them are children. There are some older people dying as well. Next. So non-fuel wood biomass. Recently we finished a report in Bangladesh, and most of these pictures are from, all of these pictures are from Bangladesh. On the left you can once again see a smoky fire, which I've shown before. And then in Bangladesh, they use leaves and grass actually for their main cooking for about 50% of their energy. So I'm not sure how much more energy poor you can be than that. And then they also cook outdoors. You can see the smoke coming out. Sometimes people say, well, people can cook outdoors, so there's no pollution. Well, the cooks have to stand by the fire, so they're cooking in the smoke. So this does affect the women. Next slide. Now, we talk about smoke, but also there's burns, there's neck injuries, there's accidents. I also took this picture this was in another state in South India. They had plenty of biomass there. They didn't have biomass scarcity, but there were a lot of labor used to collect it. And labor, of course, means time. Now, to be fair, this is a young woman carrying biomass. I also have a picture of a man carrying biomass. So both men and women actually do fuel collection in most developing countries. Actually, when fuel gets scarcer, the men get more involved. So this is not just a women's issue, although it is predominantly one. Next. Now, I forgot to put the data labels on this, but this is the share of solid biomass of total primary energy. It is coming down worldwide. The top line is Africa, and the next to the top line is South Asia. So we're still in many countries in Africa, the share of biomass of the total energy is 80 to 90%. I mean, 80 to 90%. That's the total energy that people are using. of the total energy. Even in a country like India, it's close to 40 to 50%, which has all of its industrial production and so forth. Next slide. Now, electricity access by region, done a lot of work on electricity. Once again, the top line, the lowest line here is sub-Saharan Africa, and 1 out of 12 people in rural sub-Saharan Africa have access to electricity. 1 in 12. Now, development organizations, including the World Bank, have been investing a lot in sub-Saharan Africa, but I think 1 in 12 is really unacceptable for, for this day and age. Next slide. Now, why calculate an energy poverty line? This is sort of the slides before were really to help you understand, sort of get a feel and pictures for what it's like. And energy for growth, energy for MDGs, basic needs. These are some of the basic issues. Why we invest in energy. But the issue is where do you draw the line between the basic needs for services? In other words, like if you have a poverty line, a food poverty line, then you can say, well, we'll give subsidies for consumption under that poverty line, and then above that, then the market should bear part of the cost. So it's really an important concept. Next one, please. So the basic idea, energy energy is a necessary good. Without energy, we can't cook our food, we can't boil water, and so forth. So it is a necessary good. And there is a bare minimum of energy necessary for households, and that's what we were trying to get at in this study. When I first started this study, people said, well, it's going to be very difficult to do, but we felt that it was going to be difficult, but we decided that it would be something that could really make a contribution. So there are a number of ways to approach the calculation, the energy poverty line. It's been approached, as I said, based on income and expenditure, based on energy, certain predefined energy needs and so forth. Next slide. And going through the literature, we sort of came across three different sets that we grouped together in terms of how other people have done it. And one is an energy expenditure-based measure, just set 10% sort of as the line. 10% of energy expenses is below that you're energy poor. And this is based on some empirical work. And actually, one of the authors of that is Vijay Modi, who's in the audience today. And then there's energy content-based measures. It's more of an engineering kind of approach. Bravo and Goldenberg, and recently Pachauri, Shonali Pachauri, have defined that. And then finally, there's a person at the World Bank named Vivian Foster, and she defined it based on took the poverty index and said, okay, what is the source of energy below the energy poverty what kind of energy do people below the poverty line use, and then those are the characteristics of the people that are energy poor.